Poeme is a really good name for this perfume because it is something that's quite special. There's a lot of notes in it. It's almost like all these notes are coming together to make a beautiful poem. Quite a hard one to describe. This is from the early 90s, I think. So this is another one of those perfumes where what I've done is I've sprayed it beforehand and let it dry down. In fact, I sprayed this last night. Oh my goodness, this smell now. This is exactly what it smells like on my skin after I've had it on for a few hours. This one is strong and it lasts. This is a beast mode again, for me. So this is almost quite hard to describe. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to read the notes, but I'm not entirely sure they're going to give you a great idea of what this smells like. So there's so many. The top notes: Narcissus, Datura, don't know what that is, peach, plum, Himalayan poppy, mandarin orange, blackcurrant, bergamot, and green notes. Middle notes: mimosa, vanilla flower, tuberose, ylang ylang, orange blossom, jasmine, freesia, heliotrope, rose, and leather. Base notes: vanilla, orange blossom, amber, tonka bean, musk, and cedar. I had to scroll on my phone, that's how many notes there are. So, to me, this is a yellow floral, a sweet yellow floral, and there's loads of white florals in it, but the overall effect I think it has is very yellow. This is sunshine in a bottle. It really is. It's so happy. That's all I can think to say. I also think it's quite strong. I don't think this is one I'd wear in summer. I think this is much better in colder weather to cheer you up and make you feel cozy. And the reason I say that is because I think the dry down of this smells a bit like custard. You've still got some florals there, definitely. You've still got, I think, yellow florals, but custard. Maybe not kind of exceptionally sweet in a bird's eye custardy way. Maybe like a kind of creme anglaise-y. I don't know, actually maybe it reminds me a little bit of ambrosia custard. And I think the tuberose that's sitting around in it with the vanilla and the tonka bean, I think is giving it a slightly custardy smell. Because I know tuberose can sometimes be a bit bubblegummy. And this is not bubblegummy, but there's something going on with this perfume that smells really unusual to me. I haven't often smelled anything with a dry down that smells like this. So, I mean, also look at this in the bottle, just absolutely beautiful. I mean, let me just pick this up. This is a 30ml, but it's a big, chunky, beautiful bottle. It's so pretty. This is a really pretty perfume. I think that this is definitely one that people will chase you down and ask you what you're wearing or tell you that you're smelling good, because it's truly a really joyous smell. Ooh, glorious amber colour. The colour of the box and the colour of this are exactly what you would imagine this should smell like in a way, even though it's very hard to describe. So the base notes are, like I said, it's yellow florals, and to me, I think it smells a bit custardy. So I'm just going to do the top notes because this went through a few stages with me, and when I first smelled it, I was like, I love it, and then I smelled it a bit later and I went, oh, I don't know if I can wear that. And then it dried down and I was obsessed and I had to have it. So it's a little bit more, there's more of the fruits when you first spray, so it's a bit more tart. It's a bit more sprightly. Oh, it's very beautiful. I wouldn't really know what to pick out from all the top notes. It's definitely a bit powdery. It's a little bit juicy, but I feel like all the flowers are there right from the very beginning. There was never a doubt when I smelled this that this was quite a flowery perfume. Exceptionally flowery for my normal tastes, to be honest. But it's very, very lovely, and I really, really loved it. And then after a few minutes, it really started to smell like jasmine to me. So the middle notes arrive quite quickly. You only get a quick kind of sweet, fruity white flowers at first, and then it very quickly gets more yellow flowery, but then the jasmine really starts to come out to play. So I had this on for maybe 4 minutes on my skin the first time and thought, oh no, it's so special, but I think this is too jasmine-y. There it is. Jasmine starting to pop out. So I then was, and I smelled this in a shop, so the poor man who was letting me try it, I was like, oh no, I think it's too jasmine-y, I think it's too strong. So I didn't buy it. I walked out of the shop, I carried on walking around and I kept sniffing it. And by the time I got home, it had developed that yellow flowers and custardy sort of smell that I absolutely became obsessed with. There it is. So currently it's on its kind of slightly jasmine-y phase, but this does not last very long. Jasmine doesn't hang around for too long. And I don't know that I can really recognise the leather in it. It's probably doing something to make this smell a bit unusual, and it definitely does smell unusual. But what the heartbreaking thing is this has been discontinued. So you can still buy it, but in a few years' time, probably it will be gone. So if you want to try it, now is the time. If you already like it, go and stock up. Because this is really quite magical. And I am absolutely sure that if Elie Saab was selling this perfume, or Tom Ford was selling this perfume, it would be massive. Because it is just, even though it's from the 90s, it's kind of leaning into the perfumes that you have nowadays that have that weird sort of slightly gourmand thing going on all the time, even if it's very, very flowery. But this is not done in a way that is sickly, I don't think. I think it's managed to, I think it's definitely managed to avoid being cloying, because it does have that, it's got that custardiness, but it's like a creamy and sprightly, happy, vanilla-y smell. And it is, I feel when it dries down, it is ever so slightly lactonic, but not milky, not necessarily creamy, a little bit powdery, slightly custardy. And I've rarely come across a perfume that I think the dry down smells like custard. So I think this is kind of magical. I really like this. I think it's really special, and yeah, definitely. If this had a modern perfumer's name on it, I think people would really be talking about this a lot. They'd be like, oh, Baccarat Rouge, blah, blah, blah. It would be like, oh, Poeme is just, wow, it's just magical. I've never smelled anything like it. But having said I've never smelled anything like it, I just want to quickly mention, this. Charlie Red, £5 a bottle for 100ml. So this is Charlie Red. And although absolutely the dry down on this is not the same, it doesn't have the same custard smell that Poeme does. So overall, it's not a dupe, or, well, actually I think Charlie Red came out first, weirdly. It's not a dupe, it's definitely not a dupe, but it does actually share quite a lot of the same notes. There's a few random notes in this that it shares with Poeme, and when you first spray it, I think that these two smell similar in the opening and middle notes. Yeah. If you removed the custardy element from Poeme, I think you'd be left with something very similar to Charlie Red. So I'll read you the notes of Charlie Red. The top notes of Charlie Red: gardenia, peach, orange blossom, plum, violet and blackcurrant. Middle notes: tuberose, carnation, ylang ylang, jasmine, lily of the valley, orchid and rose. Base notes: honey, sandalwood, musk, amber and cedar. So it's not an identical concoction, but it shares quite a few of the notes. And yeah, the first spray of this, which is, I mean, I find this one slightly linear. I don't think this one changes very much, and it's not well, all Charlies I find when you very first spray them, it's like, woof, it's sharp, it's harsh. Almost immediately it becomes less harsh. And this, to me, even though it's called Charlie Red, I kind of feel like this is like yellow rose, yeah, not yellow roses, yellow flowers as well. This just makes me think of kind of yellowy flowers. Yeah, I'd have called this Charlie Yellow maybe, I don't know, but it's called Charlie Red. And I mean, I don't like this one as much as I like that one, because I think what I like about that is the custardiness that comes in. But I think if you either don't like the custard, or you don't want to pay 30 quid for a 30ml bottle, which is the best price that you can find on this one at the moment, then this is literally, I mean, it literally is like £4.99 for 100ml. And this is a surprisingly nice perfume. I have memories of the original Charlie, bad memories, because so many girls at my little like school wore it in the late 80s and early 90s, and it just became synonymous with like a strong and unpleasant perfume. And I don't actually think that any of the Charlies are strong or unpleasant, but I think they've just got those kind of connotations, and the smell reminds me too much of not liking them when I was little. So this isn't like the one that I would ever pick. I'd always go for Poeme, but I just wanted to mention that definitely the top and middle notes are really similar, and then this one is more complex. It turns into something else, but yeah, at first they remind me of each other, but this is my lady, and I think that this perfume needs a bit more love. I think it's really special.